How many FBI employees have retired, resigned, been fired, or otherwise separated from employment? How many special agents or analysts have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025? How many executive assistant directors or special agents in charge have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025? Which field office, division, or directorate has lost the most personnel since January 2025? And do you have the answer to that question?
When you're talking about firings, you're looking for a media hit and a fundraising clip, and I'm not going to give it to you.
It doesn't matter under what basis they left. I just want to know how many have left. And I think your testimony is...
Nope, that's not my testimony. You asked it one time. I answered it one time. You didn't get the answer you wanted for your clip, so you keep asking it, and I told you I'd get you the numbers.
The FBI is the nation's lead federal law enforcement agency for investigating and preventing acts of domestic and international terrorism. And yet the executive assistant directors in charge of the FBI's national security and intelligence branches were both forced out at the beginning of the year. Who replaced them in those positions?
Excellent qualified personnel to lead the mission of arresting 23,000 violent criminals this year alone. That's twice as many as before.
Who took the places of
I'm not going to give you any names so you can attack them.
This clip is getting attention for the back and forth. But what this hearing is actually exposing is something more concerning than a heated exchange. It's a systematic pattern of non-disclosure from the director of the most powerful domestic law enforcement agency in the world. In the 7 months since Kash Patel took over the FBI, the heads of the National Security Branch, the Intelligence Branch, the Criminal and Cyber Branch, and the Cyber Division have all left or been forced out. Counterterrorism experts and cybercrime investigators were reassigned to immigration enforcement. The agency is taking a budget cut of nearly $500 million. And thousands of employees, by some estimates around 5,000, have separated from the Bureau. When a senator asks how many people have left, Patel won't give the number. When she asks who replaced the departed leadership, he won't give the names. When she asks yes or no questions about whether reassigned agents have returned to their primary duties, she gets explanations instead of answers. As a journalist covering federal institutions for 7 years, an FBI director who won't tell Congress who is running its national security and cyber divisions is not protecting operational security. He is protecting himself from accountability. Let's go through exactly what was said.
Just like the rest of the federal government, there have been significant personnel changes at the FBI since President Trump took office. I want to better understand the scope of the turnover and the changes occurring at the FBI. Since January 20, 2025, how many FBI employees have retired, resigned, been fired, or otherwise separated from employment? I need a number.
We'll get you a number.
What is the number? You don't have it?
Not off the top of my head, and I want to get you the right number.
Would it surprise you to know that it's probably in the thousands, like 5,000?
I don't think that number's accurate.
You don't know. Next question. How many special agents or analysts have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025?
Say, we will get you the numbers, and anyone that retires is of their own volition, and anyone that is terminated at the FBI, as I've said before, is done so because they have failed to meet the standards and uphold their loyalty and oath.
Next question. How many executive assistant directors or special agents in charge have left or been fired from the FBI since January 20th, 2025?
Again, people leaving on their own accord or terminations were done by the standards set at the FBI that have been carried out consistently.
With this question, I'm getting to the leadership of the FBI, and you don't have that answer. Next question. Which field office, division, or directorate has lost the most personnel since January 2025? And do you have the answer to that question?
Actually, every single field office in the country, including Hawaii, has received a plus-up of FBI agents because we're pushing them out to the field.
Okay, so you're telling me that no field office, division, or directorate has lost any personnel since January 20th, 2025.
In Hawaii, there's been a plus-up. In every single state that I'm looking at, we have allocated a plus-up for field offices across the country so that the FBI can continuing the historic achievements it's done in these last 7 months. When you're talking about firings, you're looking for a media hit and a fundraising clip, and I'm not going to give it to you.
It doesn't matter under what basis they left. I just want to know how many have left. And I think your testimony is nobody has left.
Nope,
Which
that's
field-
not my testimony. You asked it one time. I answered it one time. You didn't get the answer you wanted for your clip,
Next
so you keep
question.
asking it, and I told you I'd get you the numbers.
The senator opens with the most basic oversight question possible. Since January 20th, how many FBI employees have retired, resigned, been fired, or otherwise separated? She wants a number. Patel says he'll get her one. She asks again. He doesn't have it. She asks about special agents and analysts specifically. Same answer. We'll get you numbers. She asks about executive assistant directors and special agents in charge, the leadership tier. Same pivot. She asks which field office or division has lost the most personnel. Patel's answer. Actually, every field office has received a plus-up of agents. The senator catches it immediately. So your testimony is that no field office has lost any personnel? That's your answer? Patel clarifies he said plus-ups were allocated, not that nobody left. The senator moves on. Then Patel says it. You're looking for a fundraising clip, and I'm not going to give it to you. The senator's response reframes the entire exchange. She doesn't care why people left or how it looks politically. She wants to know how many. That's a basic oversight function. The number doesn't belong to Patel. It belongs to Congress and to the American public. And 7 months in, the FBI director doesn't have it or won't give it.
Which field office, division, or directorate has gained the most personnel since January 2025? You noted that there have been plus-ups, so which offices have received these plus-ups?
The greatest allocation that I believe was given to California and then Florida.
Director Patel, you often refer to FBI agents as cops. All of us, Democrats and Republicans, support the police officers who keep our communities safe. But while our states, cities, counties, and towns all employ police officers to protect our communities, Congress has empowered and equipped the FBI to take on missions that local police cannot, especially taking on terrorists, hackers, and spies. I'd like to assess how well the FBI is able to handle its specialized missions under your leadership. The FBI is the nation's lead federal law enforcement agency for investigating and preventing acts of domestic and international terrorism. And yet the executive assistant directors in charge of the FBI's national security and intelligence branches were both forced out at the beginning of the year. Who replaced them in those positions?
Excellent qualified personnel to lead the mission of arresting 23,000 violent criminals this year alone. That's twice as many as before.
Who took the places of
I'm not going to give you any names so you can attack them. The
You're not
people
gonna
sitting
give
in
me the
those seats
names
are
of-
extremely qualified to handle the job.
You're
We
not
would
gonna
not
give
have
me
the
the names
results.
of
We would,
personnel who
we would
should
not
be
have the
on your-
reduction
Right,
of
fine,
violence in the
moving
state
on.
of Hawaii if we did not allocate the
Earlier
resources we
this
did.
year, FBI counterterrorist special agents and investigators were reassigned to assist with immigration enforcement. Reportedly, these counterterrorism experts were returned to the jobs they trained for in late January after Iran threatened to retaliate for our strikes on their nuclear facilities. Have those experts remained in the jobs they trained for since that time? Yes or no?
FBI agents' primary responsibility is exactly what they are assigned to do. We always work with our
So since they
interagency part.
returned to their positions,
If you're not
are
going to
they
let
still
me
in
answer,
those
why don't you
positions?
just do your soliloquy in the 4.5 minutes you have
I
left?
am not asking for a soliloquy. It's just a yes or no. Are those people who were returned to their jobs still on those jobs?
They never left their primary job. It is a surge of resources in law enforcement working with the interagency to combat violent crime and reduce
They were
violent
never-
crime in
okay, they were never
historic
reassigned to do
proportions.
immigration.
The senator shifts to the operational consequences of the personnel changes. And this is where the hearing becomes a national security concern rather than just an accountability dispute. The executive assistant directors running the FBI's national security and intelligence branches, the two people most directly responsible for keeping America safe from terrorism and foreign threats, were both forced out at the beginning of the year. The senator asks who replaced them. Patel refuses to give names. His reason? So you can attack them. That answer is extraordinary. The identities of the people running America's counterterrorism apparatus are not classified. They are senior government officials whose positions are a matter of public record. Refusing to name them in a congressional oversight hearing is not operational security. It is the FBI director deciding unilaterally what Congress is allowed to know about who runs the FBI. Then comes the reassignment question. Counterterrorism special agents and cyber investigators were pulled from their primary duties and assigned to immigration enforcement earlier this year, when Iran threatened retaliation for American strikes. Those experts were reportedly returned to their counterterrorism roles. The senator asks, are they still there? Yes or no? Patel's answer, agents always remain on their primary duties while surging resources to interagency operations. The senator calls it, that's not a yes or no. And she's right.
Director Patel, the FBI is also the lead federal agency for investigating cyber attacks and cyber intrusions, both by foreign nation states and by non-state hacker groups. Since President Trump's inauguration, the executive assistant director in charge of the criminal and cyber branch and the head of the FBI's cyber division have both left the FBI. What are the names of the people who replace them in those positions?
The cyber branch is one of the most impressive at the FBI. 409 arrests this year, 169 convictions. That's a 42% increase from the same time last year. So any suggestion that the FBI cyber division is not operating at full capacity and better than ever before, the leadership at the branch is implementing these changes necessary to attack the cyber and ransomware infrastructure operators for Iran, China,
they're
and Russia.
important? I want to know who has those positions, since the people who originally were there
Supremely
are no longer
qualified
there.
individuals have those positions.
Are they?
Supremely qualified individuals.
Who are they? What are the names?
You're not getting
You don't
them.
know. Special agents who investigate cybercrime were also reassigned for immigration enforcement. Have those expert investigators returned to their duties? Yes or no?
All agents remained on their primary duties while surging to allocate resources for interagency operations to the Homeland Security task forces across this country.
So are you?
Am I what?
See, I'm not getting the yes or no answers. I get all this explanation. So there you go.
No, you get the work that
Are
the men
you
and women of the
planning
FBI are doing. And you don't want that.
Additional personnel cuts to the cyber division in the future?
The only people that will be terminated at the FBI will be those that violate their oath of office or fail to meet the high standards at the FBI.
The pattern repeats with the cyber division. The executive assistant director of the criminal and cyber branch and the head of the FBI cyber division have both left since Inauguration Day. The senator asks for the names of their replacements. Patel gives arrest statistics: 409 arrests, 169 convictions, 42% increase. He will not give the names. Cyber special agents were also reassigned to immigration enforcement. The senator asks, have they returned to their primary cyber duties? Yes or no? Patel says agents always maintain their primary duties while surging to interagency operations. The senator gives up on the yes or no format. I see. I'm not getting those answers. Patel's response tells you everything about how he views this hearing. Now you get to see what the men and women of the FBI are actually doing. Here is why that matters beyond the exchange itself. China and Russia are actively targeting American critical infrastructure with cyber attacks right now. The FBI's cyber division exists specifically to counter those attacks. If the agents trained for that mission were reassigned to immigration enforcement, even temporarily, that is a gap in America's cyber defense that no arrest statistic covers. And the FBI director won't say clearly whether that gap has been closed. Gap has been closed.
Director Patel, the FBI is meant to be the tip of the spear in combating terrorism against the United States from both foreign and domestic sources. It's also our lead agency in fighting the hackers who target our businesses and critical infrastructure. But instead of a specialized role fighting these kinds of terrorists, hackers, and spies, you have the FBI playing the role of local police and helping with immigration enforcement. You are now requiring applicants to be able to do a certain kind of pull-ups, which a lot of women cannot because of physiological differences. Are you requiring these kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring a physical program at BFTC at Quantico because FBI agents carrying guns in the field have to chase down bad guys and do really hard work. The physical fitness standards of those agents
So
are
are
being
you requiring
appropriately
these
assessed.
kinds of pull-ups?
We are requiring everybody to pass the 1811 standards at BFTC. If you want to chase down a bad guy
Excuse me,
and put
the
him in
reason I
handcuffs, you
asked-
better be able to do a pull-up.
The reason I ask is that there are concerns about whether or not being able to do these kinds of harsh pull-ups is really required of FBI agents.
Doing
Anyway,
one pull-up
Mr.
is not
Patel,
harsh,
I
and there
am
are always
gravely
medical
concerned.
exemptions to that.
I am gravely concerned by the state of the FBI under your control. And in fact, you are willing to take a cut in your agency of almost $500 million. So the FBI is losing dedicated employees, decades of expertise and specialization, leading to loss to early retirements, firings, and reassignments to immigration enforcement or conducting local police work. Thousands have already left. For as long as you remain as the head of the FBI, I fear the number of departures and summary firings will continue to grow. Mr. Patel, before the vote on your nomination of this committee, I noted that your most significant qualification, this is not just something that I noted, but others, your most significant qualification was your 100% loyalty to President Trump.
The hearing closes with two issues that land differently but point in the same direction. First, new physical fitness requirements at Quantico that include pull-ups, a standard that physiologically disadvantages many women. Patel's defense is that FBI agents carrying guns in the field need to be physically capable. The senator's concern is that narrowing the fitness standard narrows the talent pool at a moment when the Bureau is already hemorrhaging experienced personnel. Then comes the budget. The FBI is taking a cut of nearly $500 million. An agency that is simultaneously losing thousands of experienced employees, restructuring its leadership, reassigning specialized agents, and refusing to disclose who now runs its most critical divisions, is also absorbing a massive budget reduction. The senator's closing statement is the most damaging thing said in this hearing, not because it's dramatic, but because it's a documented prediction. Dedicated employees are leaving. Decades of expertise are walking out the door. Specialization built over careers is being lost to early retirements, firings, and reassignments to immigration enforcement. As long as Patel remains director, she fears the departures will continue to grow, and her final line cuts through everything. Before his confirmation, she noted that Patel's most significant qualification was 100% loyalty to Donald Trump. She fears that loyalty, not the mission, not the law, not the Constitution, continues to be the motivating factor in how the FBI is being run today. My read as a journalist. What this hearing documents is not incompetence. It's a deliberate information strategy. No numbers on departures. No names on replacements. No straight answers on reassignments. Every question that would allow Congress or the public to independently assess the operational health of the FBI, answered with statistics, deflections, or accusations about fundraising clips. The FBI's credibility with courts, with allies, and with the American public depends on transparency about how it operates. This hearing produced the opposite of that. And the people who will feel the consequences of that gap are not in this hearing room.